If you're wondering what the 2026 housing market is going to look like in the Twin Cities, you're asking the same question a lot of my clients are asking right now. I'm sure that you have had news headlines cluttering your feeds, either trying to paint a dismal picture of the future, or others that are trying to persuade you that everything is fantastic. Well, I'm here to set the record straight and give you true local predictions for the Twin Cities housing market based on current data, local trends, and what I'm actively seeing day to day with buyers and sellers. No hype, no fear mongering, just a realistic look at what might be ahead. I'm Bailey Zimbelman, a local Twin Cities real estate expert and residential specialist. If you want to stay ahead of market shifts this year, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's dig in. Home prices over the course of 2025 grew to a median of $395,000 across the 7-county Twin Cities metro. This was a 2.8% increase year over year, a much needed market stabilization as compared to the 2 years following the pandemic increases. You likely already know the answer as to why we saw prices level out. Interest rates. This was a reflection of buyers being more price sensitive and seeking value rather than bidding prices going up aggressively. So how does 2025 play into pricing moving forward here in 2026? I anticipate to still see an annual increase in pricing, likely between 2.5% and 3.5%, very similar to what we saw over this last year. Let's dig deeper into why. There are two primary impacts to take into consideration: inventory and interest rates. At its core, the real estate market is a supply and demand equation. If the market is flooded with inventory but demand is low, of course prices would come down. Think 2008. If inventory is low but demand is high, think low interest rates, then home prices skyrocket. Now, here you can see that inventory did increase slightly last year, but overall, inventory has been low compared to historical standards since before the pandemic. And unfortunately, I expect that issue to remain the same again for this year for 3 different reasons. The first is statewide population and generational statistics. The latest generational report from Minnesota shows that millennials make up the largest part of our population, 20.7%, which is a huge demographic at prime home buying age. As of late 2025, the median age of a first-time home buyer in the U.S. hit an all-time high of 40 years old, which is up from 38 in late 2024. So the inventory we do have available is being absorbed at very high rates. Inventory is also impacted by new construction, which just hasn't been able to keep up with the pace with buyer demand. Here you can see that since the housing market crash of 2008, builders just don't flood the market with inventory anymore. We did start to see new construction increase in 2023, but there still is a need for more to counterbalance demand and population growth at this point in time. Finally, if we can't rely on new construction to balance out demand, we would have to rely on previously owned homes. However, we are going to keep seeing low inventory in this category as well because of the lock-in effect caused by historically low rates from 2020 to 2022. During this time, if you already owned a home, you most likely refinanced your 30-year mortgage, and many people are still willing to stay longer in a home that no longer fully fits their needs simply because of the affordability and interest rate payments. Though I do expect this effect to have less of an impact starting in about 2027. The other reason why I expect home prices to have a moderate increase in 2026 rather than a boom is interest rate projections. Major economists believe that by the end of the year, interest rates will be hovering right around 6%, which is basically where we're at right now. I don't expect the Federal Reserve to be too eager to cut rates in an attempt to keep the market stabilized. There you have it. My predictions for the 2026 housing market are a moderate increase of 2.5% to 3.5% in home prices, interest rates to hover right around 6%, and still limited inventory, keeping us in a slightly more balanced, yet still a seller's market. If you're looking for a deeper dive into a specific neighborhood or data, comment on this video and I will be happy to dig into the research for you.